Hi everyone, I'm back. I'm Samantha and I'm a therapist and I'm creating a video every day for a whole year, and this is video 209. Thank you for being here with me. Today I wanted to read a little story that I got in my email yesterday from Joe Hudson. He is this amazing coach and I love the way he helps people. He's amazing. Check him out if you ever want to. He has a YouTube channel and he does live coaching, every now and again. Quick coaching is what he calls it, I think, for like 15 minutes. So he's amazing. So anyway, this story came in an email from him and it's called The Third Knot. And I really loved this, so I wanted to share it because I've never heard this before. So let me read it real quick to you. A young warrior went to a mountain temple to hone his craft. "I am ready to learn how to be a warrior," he said eagerly to the teacher. The teacher nodded and handed him a tightly knotted length of rope. "Your first task," he said, "is to untie this knot. There's only one rule. You may not pull on it." The warrior took the knot and got to work. He sat in the courtyard, tugging, pinching, and twisting. His fingers slipped and pulled the knot a little more. Each time he noticed, he jerked his hands back in frustration. By dusk, the knot was smaller and harder than before. His shoulders burned as he marched back to the teacher. "This is impossible. The moment I work on the knot, I end up pulling, and every time I try not to pull, I end up yanking my hands away. I can't do this." The teacher glanced at him. "So now there are two knots," he said, "the one in the rope and the one in your body." "Try again tomorrow," he said. The next morning, the young student decided to be more disciplined. "I will not resist," he told himself. He forced his shoulders down and strengthened his spine. He breathed in a perfectly even rhythm, willing his mind to be calm. When irritation arose, he clamped down even harder. After an hour, sweat ran down his back. The knot was even tighter. He stormed back to the teacher, exhausted and exasperated. "I didn't pull. I stayed calm and controlled my reactions." "Nothing is moving." The teacher raised an eyebrow. "You controlled your reactions?" "Yes, I refused to get frustrated or tense up." "So now there is a third knot," the teacher nodded. "Tomorrow, again." The next morning, the student went back to the courtyard and sat down with the rope in his lap. For a long time, he did nothing. He noticed the tightness in his throat, his desire to impress the teacher, and the shame that he hadn't yet solved it. He welcomed all of it. Then slowly, he picked up the rope and turned the knot over in his hands. He felt how the strands crossed and bit into each other. He learned its weight, its grain, the way it folded back on itself. And then it hit him all at once. He knew what to do. He went to the teacher and asked, "Please put your fingers here and pull." The knot came undone instantly. The teacher smiled. "Congratulations, you have undone all three knots, and you have learned the first lesson of being a warrior. In a fight with yourself, you always lose." Ooh, I love that so much. Isn't that so true? When we fight ourselves, we always lose. But when we let go of resistance, what happens? When we're still, what happens? When we put on our positive pants instead of our negative pants, what happens? We feel different. We change our mental state. We feel like nothing can stop us. And the best part is when you just sit and you're still and you let go of those bad thoughts, the hurtful thoughts, all of a sudden you start receiving messages. You start receiving solutions. You start receiving answers. Instead of trying to force, you receive. And I think that's a lesson in the story. And I wanted to share that with you. I thought it was so great because we're always resisting ourselves. And so remember that if you can just practice being still, I think I'm learning. The older I get, I'm just like, oh, I got to slow down. Like I've got to slow down. Oh my God, we're all moving around so fast, talking fast, thinking too fast. And I think if we just practice slowing down, that will really help us. Be still. That's in the Bible. Be still and know that I'm God. Be still. Meditate. Get to know yourself. This also mentioned that in there. The man got to know the rope. All about the rope. It's all about you. Get to know yourself. And then everything kind of falls into place. How do I speak to myself? How do I see myself? How do I feel about myself? How do I treat myself? Because when you start to treat yourself better and you speak to yourself more kindly and you start to love yourself, every feeling that you feel, every thought you have, every decision you make is going to change your circumstances. And it's going to change people around you, because whatever is internal that's going on will be reflected out and back to you. And so just practice. This is a skill. It's a skill to slow down. It's a skill to be still. And I believe it's also a skill to learn to love yourself, because for some reason, when we're kids, we always had somebody around us that either put us down or was abusive or bullied you or anything. And we might have heard one person say something. I think Dr. Phil said it takes 100 attaboys to, basically heal one negative comment. And so that's kind of how we are for some reason. But we practice that for some reason. We just practice it. And so we've got to practice something else. That's all we have to do, is practice a new state. So the more you can get yourself into a positive mental state, whether it's petting your cat or your dog, or watching a funny video, or making out with your partner, anything that can get you in a positive state, you want to put yourself there as much as possible and practice staying there. And then that's when you put out your intentions. That's when you really start bringing in the magic. You're in an elevated state already. Then you start thinking about, what do I want? I'm going to intend. I'm going to put this out there now. What's my vision? And you start thinking about your vision while you're feeling good. Ooh, watch what happens with that one. We don't have to try so hard. In fact, it's not really a trying process. Everything just kind of happens on its own. But we've got to slow down and be, instead of speeding up and doing so much. So keep this story in your mind about the third knot, because man, he's like, yeah, you got a second knot now, and now you got a third knot. And in that, what happens? We get all these knots, literal knots, sometimes in our backs and in our necks, and somewhere in the body. It shows up. Dis-ease in the mind shows up as disease in the body. Remember that one too. That's a really good one. That really helps me. I'm like, oh, I better create ease in my life as much as possible. How can I do that? Maybe I need to let go of some negative thoughts I've been thinking about myself. Maybe I just need to start thinking, hey, how about I let go of that fear? How about I decide to not be afraid anymore? What would that look like? What would that feel like? What would it feel like? How would you behave? What could you create if you weren't afraid? And what are you afraid of? What if you faced that fear? What would happen? You might untie a knot without touching it. Isn't that amazing? That would be awesome. Because I know we have a lot of knots in our lives, especially at holiday time. So keep that story in your mind and practice just being still for 5 minutes. Just practice it tonight or tomorrow. Whenever you see this, this is timeless, It is December 20th, 2025, but this is timeless. So practice stillness for 5 minutes. Everybody's got 5 minutes. And if you don't, you need to practice it more than everybody else does. So I'll leave you with that tonight. I hope you all are doing amazing. I hope you sleep well tonight if this is evening. I hope you have a wonderful day if you just started your day. You deserve all the best. You are the best. You are so loved. Pass it on to somebody who needs to hear it today. Text them, give them a little email or a text or a call, or say it to their face. That's even better. And remember to appreciate yourself, because what you appreciate appreciates. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye.